Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we will be talking about Java garbage collections, and we will also be talking about the Java garbage collectors and how they are used. So let us begin. In Java, garbage, the word garbage, it means that we are using some unreferenced objects. So unreferenced objects essentially means that if we have an object inside the heap memory, let's say this, and inside the stack memory we do not have any reference for this particular object, so this object is not referenced. Okay, so we do not have any reference variable for this particular object in the heap memory. So how this memory allocation is done, we have already explained in my last video, so you can go through it if at all there is any confusion. So in Java, garbage means unreferenced object, and it is the process of reclaiming the runtime unused memory automatically. So whenever we are using Java garbage collections, or we are using garbage collection, that process basically it helps us to reclaim the unused memory, because if there is any object which is not in use, that means it becomes unused memory. So that unused memory can be reclaimed whenever you are using or we are using garbage collection. In other words, it is a way to destroy this particular unused object. So if we want to associate any formal definition to garbage collection, so we can write it down in something like this. So Java automatic garbage collection or garbage collection is a process. Garbage collection is a process, or is the process of looking at heap memory. That means searching the heap memory, looking at heap memory, identifying objects which are in use, objects that are in use, and deleting the unreferenced or unused objects. So deleting the unreferenced objects. So basically garbage collection, if we are considering this process, we have to first initially search the heap memory and identify the objects which are in use, and finally remove the unused memory, unreferenced objects. So an unused or unreferenced object is no longer referenced by any part of the program. It might be a method or it might be a generic variable. It is not referenced by any part of the program, and so whatever memory is occupied by the unreferenced object, it can be reclaimed. Like we already mentioned in this point, it can be reclaimed. And this deallocation of memory, this entire process of deallocating the memory or destroying the unused or unreferenced object in the memory, is handled automatically by the garbage collector. So this is a very important component in Java, which is basically used in order to deallocate the unreferenced objects from the heap memory. So now moving ahead, we have to discuss some of the advantages which is related to the garbage collection. So talking about the advantages, it makes Java memory efficient because Java memory efficient. Let us first write it down. Memory efficient, as the garbage collector will remove the unreferenced objects from the heap memory, and we can make use of the unutilized memory or the freed memory. So it is automatically done by the garbage collector, which is a part of JVM, and we do not need to make any extra efforts. So automatically done by automatically done by garbage collector, which is a part of JVM, and there has to be no such extra effort in deallocating or executing this particular process. Now, moving ahead, how can we practically do this? That means, how can the objects be unreferenced or dereferenced? So, dereferencing process, dereferencing ways or processes. So in order to dereference these dereference or deallocate the memory, there are three different ways. The first one is by nulling the reference. Nulling the reference, that means if we have a reference variable, so that reference variable essentially would be stored in the stack memory, and that reference variable, whenever an object is created, that particular variable, if we somehow make it null, then we will be able to dereference it. For example, if I have an object created, let's say student s is equal to new student. So as soon as I write this particular statement, the reference variable s is stored inside the stack memory, and a new student a new object would be created inside the heap memory, which would be referenced by s, right? Now if I make this s is equal to null, that means it is not pointing, so s will now be not pointing to this particular object, right? So when we are doing this, we are nulling the reference. So in this way we can deallocate or dereference that particular block of memory. The next way is to assign a reference to another. So by assigning a reference to another, so with this we mean that if one particular object which has been created and is referenced by one variable is basically now pointing to another object which has been created by another statement or another object which has been created in the heap memory. So if we are somehow assigning the reference or changing the reference to that particular new object, then it will be dereferenced. So suppose if I am having student s1 is equal to new student. So as soon as I do this, an object here is created in the heap memory, which is basically referenced by s1. Now suppose I am creating s2 is equal to new student. So whenever I am doing this, essentially there is another object and this is now referenced by s2. Now suppose what I'll do is I will equate this s1 and s2. So whenever I am doing this, the previous one gets removed from here and this particular s2 is replaced with s1. Okay, the first object which is referred by s1 will be now available for garbage collection. That means this particular object could be destroyed completely by garbage collectors. Okay, and the third one that we can do is we can use the third method is by anonymous object. So by anonymous object. So this we will be talking in details later. However, as of now, we have to understand that these kind of objects, they do not have any reference variable. For example, new student. Of course, we can pass parameters inside this particular object, but we do not have any reference for this particular object which is created inside the heap memory. Okay, so new, as already understood, we use it for creating any new object, and this will create an object inside the heap memory, but essentially it will not have any different reference variable in order to refer it. Okay, so now how do we basically, there are different ways for requesting the JVM to run the garbage collector. Like already mentioned, JVM, a part of JVM which is also known as garbage collector, is used in order to destroy or dereference the objects. Now how do we actually request the JVM to run the garbage collector? Okay, so how do we do that? So first of all, once we make an object eligible for garbage collection, so with the three different methods which we have already been discussed, we will make that object eligible for garbage collection. It may not destroy immediately by the garbage collector, okay, because if that garbage collector program is not running, then essentially we will not be able to remove that particular object or deallocate that particular memory. So when JVM runs the garbage collector program, then only the object will be destroyed. Okay. So but when the JVM runs the garbage collector, that we cannot expect. We have to make special request to the JVM to run the garbage collector. So first of all, we have to understand that only garbage collector program will destroy the object, and in order to activate the garbage collector program, we have to request the JVM. So there are two ways to do that. First one is, if we are using system.gc method. So this method would be useful in order to run the garbage collector. Basically, this is a system class which contains the static method GC. Okay, GC is a static method and it requests the JVM to run the garbage collector, and we can also use runtime dot get runtime dot GC method. So this is another method, and this runtime class will allow the application to interface with the JVM in which the application is running. Hence, by using this GC method, we will be able to request the JVM to run the garbage collector. Now, there is no as such guarantee that either of the two methods would be helping us to run the garbage collector. Okay, we call system.gc is effectively equivalent to this particular call. Okay, these two are almost equivalent to each other, but there is no guarantee that any of the two methods will run the garbage collector. So we will be using some more aspects which are associated to this garbage collection. So first method which we will be discussing, so let us discuss the different methods for garbage collection. So this method, the first one that we will be discussing is the finalize method. So when we are using the finalize method, that means whenever this method is invoked, each time before the object the garbage is collected. Okay, the method can be used to perform cleanup processing, and this method is predefined in the object class basically. So if we are using this finalize method, it will perform the cleanup activities. So clean up activities would be performed. Cleanup activities would be performed here, and basically this is already predefined inside the object class. Okay, so object class is the parent class. Object class is the parent class of this particular finalize method, and it is already predefined here. So each time whenever this particular method is invoked, this particular method, the cleanup process begins before the object's garbage is collected, or the garbage is collected for any particular object. So it is predefined as protected void finalize. So this is the method which is already predefined. Okay, the garbage collector of JVM collects only those objects which are created by the new keyword. So if we have created any object without new, we can use the finalize method to perform the cleanup processing or destroy the remaining objects. Okay, so if we are using any type of objects which do not any type of object is created without the new keyword, then we can use this method in order to perform the cleanup processing, okay, or destroying um, the allocated space or the allocated memory. Okay, so basically this finalize method, this is called by the garbage collector. Okay, it is not called by the JVM, it is collected by the garbage collector, but indirectly it will, you can consider that this is basically a part of JVM only, because garbage collector on the other hand is a part of JVM. So this object uh, class method is basically called by the garbage collector, and also the finalize method is never invoked more than once for any object. Okay, and if there is an exception which is thrown by the finalize method, that exception is basically ignored and the finalization of that object immediately terminates. Now the next method which we will be discussing, we have already discussed about it. So the next method is basically the GC method. So GC method is the garbage collector method, and this method is used to invoke the garbage collector to perform the cleanup processing. Okay, so it invokes garbage collector to perform cleanup processing. Perform cleanup processing. So this garbage collection method, it is found in system and runtime classes. So these are system and runtime classes. So they are basically the parent classes of the GC method. These are the parent classes of GC method. So basically it is represented in this particular way: public static void and then garbage collector method is called. Okay, so these are the two different methods which play an active role in the cleanup processing as well as deallocating or dereferencing. Now garbage collection is performed by a daemon thread which is called as garbage collector, and this thread calls the finalize method before the object's garbage is collected. So finalize method becomes an inevitable part because even by the, it is called by the garbage collector, and it, the cleanup processing is basically done by this particular method only. Okay, so let us look into a small example of garbage collection. So if we take a particular example, let us say public class test, and here we will be we have to incorporate finalize method. So let us write it down: public void finalize, and within this particular method we will be writing down a print statement which is system.out.println, and here let us write down that memory dereferenced, dereferenced, and after that we will simply close the method, and then let's write down the main method which is public static void main, then string arguments, string arguments, so this is an array, and within this we will simply create objects of the test class. So let us write down test s1 is equal to new test. So this is one object which is created. Then we have test s2 is equal to new test. So these two are objects which has been created. So we will be using the first method, which is s1 is equal to null and s2 is equal to null. So we have dereferenced this. Okay, now when we will be executing this, we will get to know that since both of them are null, so we will get the output as memory dereferenced. Okay, so this will be printed twice. So while generating the output, what we will get is memory dereferenced, as well as 2 times. This again will follow because there are two objects and we have made it as null. So this is the this is one very simple example of garbage collection. However, again I would like to mention here is that neither finalization nor garbage collection is guaranteed even if we are using this finalize method or the GC method. Okay, so this is all about garbage collection that we generally have in case of Java. Now we already discussed about the advantages, that it makes it more memory efficient and it is done by automatically by the garbage collector. Okay, even if we do not invoke it, it is dereferenced, but however if we invoke it, it makes us a little sure about it, so that it will help the memory to be managed in a better and effective way. Now sometimes there is a question is that how to prevent the objects of a class from garbage collection in Java. Okay, so since we have already discussed that in Java the garbage collector is automatic, that means the user do not have to manually free an occupied memory which was dynamically allocated. Okay, then how does the garbage collector decide which object is to be deleted? So if it decides based on the already discussed way, with that means if an object loses its reference, then it is marked for deletion from the heap memory. Okay, now is there a way by which we can prevent the object from being collected by the garbage collector? Yes, of course there are some ways. Okay, so first way is if we are increase the size of the heap memory So if somehow we will be able to increase the size of the heap memory, then our problem would be solved. So Java allocates memory to its object in a partition which is known as heap. We have already discussed about this, and since the heap memory is limited, we need to free or make space for new objects. Now if we can increase the heap size somehow, then we will be able to be able to prevent the objects from getting deleted. Okay, so suppose whenever we are increasing that size of the heap memory, what happens is that the garbage collector runs infrequently, and whenever it runs, it will take longer than before to complete the garbage collection task. So this is we will talk about this in details later. However, as of now, we can just concentrate on this point, that if we can increase the size of the heap memory, then we can prevent, of course, dereferencing of the objects and removing or destroying of the objects. Also by using singleton class. If we are using a singleton class, then also we will be able to prevent this. Because in case of singleton class, the reference of only object created can be stored in a static reference, and since static members are stored in a different segment, their lifetime spans the lifetime of the program. Okay, so if we can use singleton class, also if we can use the finalize method. So basically finalize is a callback method, and it is the last method executed on an object. So basically if we use the finalize method of a class, then it can be overridden to preserve the reference of the object which is about to be deleted. Okay, so somehow if the finalize method could be overridden, so overriding the finalize method. So these are the three ways in which we can prevent the garbage collection. However, this is not very much needed, because whatever we do, generally we keep in context that we always make sure that if we have a small amount of memory also, we can make very efficient use of it. So it is always better that we use, or the garbage collector is invoked from time to time, so that effective memory management can take place. So that is all for this video. We will talk about more on different other aspects related to Java in our next video. Thank you.